All right, everybody. I want to thank y'all for tuning in to OneObjective tonight. We have got as I always say, a really good show lined up. So, James, how you doing tonight, man?
Oh, pretty good.
Man,
How about yourself?
it's been a crazy day. No, I don't say crazy. It's been a good day of getting things done on the kayak and getting things ready and just trying to get things lined up for March, man. We ain't got far.
No, it's getting real close. You know me, I've been working all weekend on mine, trying to get it done. So just
Yeah.
putting a little couple extra add-ons and getting everything tightened up. So
Yeah, you've come up with some really good ideas for yours that we've put on mine too as well, and still got other ideas in the process and all that. So I mean, I'm just really excited to get out on the water and use these things now with all the extra little options and add-ons that we have on them now.
yeah, I have to thank my wife for letting me use her garage, so I can just sit there and tinker with it. On and off. The more you look at it, the more things you see that would be more user friendly for you. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited to get it on the water and see how it feels.
Well, the cool part is we've got to fish out of it a whole year. And kind of, we've added some stuff as we fished and this and that, but to be able to know exactly where we want things now, how you fish out of it and things that you do and places you put stuff. So we know where we screwed up and need to organize more and
Yes.
make things a little more efficient. So, but yeah, it's going to be a great season. I'm excited about 2019 and all the new little goodies we got coming on. I don't want to talk too much about the new goodies we got coming on, not just yet. So, but we got some good goodies coming on.
Some good goodies.
Some good goodies. So, but Chris, I want to thank you for helping us out with the show, guys. If y'all don't, new to the show, Chris, he's behind the scenes running everything 10 times better than I ever would. So, plus I actually feel like I can get on here and talk and not like stare at the screen trying to make adjustments on stuff. So, Chris, we really appreciate you, man. You do a heck of a job.
Thank you, Chris.
So, let's kind of thank all our sponsors. We got some really great sponsors that's helped really make this show what it is. And they're really phenomenal. And we always say we don't like to get sponsors that we don't believe in because, and that's marketing 101, especially when it comes to sponsorship. A little tip for you guys, especially you kids. I see a lot of posts about these last 2 weeks about these businesses getting posts from kids. So this is kind of throwing it out there to you guys. Don't just go asking for product and work for it. Show them what you're doing before you start asking. Start tagging them and stuff and working your way into that so they start seeing who you are before you even start talking to them. But also, don't get on with something that you don't believe in, because I'm going to be honest with you, when it comes to tackle and any kind of product, especially in the fishing industry, if you don't believe in it and trust in it, it's hard to promote something like that. So just make sure you get on with something that you really, truly believe in. But, guys, we got some really great sponsors. We got Accucol, Hookfish Performance. Make sure you check them out. They're new with us. Chris will make some camera adjustments here. There you go. Hookfish Performance. I'm excited about getting our jerseys in. They're in the process of getting made right now. I think they're going to be really killer looking jerseys, just the stuff that they have. So, really excited about that. We got Baiuno Power. They're going to be powering a lot of our accessories that we ain't talked about yet on our kayaks this year. Also got Yak Attack. Guys, if you're ready to rig the dream, as they say, with hashtag rig the dream, they got some really great products. If you're just getting into the kayak industry, make sure you check them out. If you've been in it, you already know who they are. They make really great products, and they got a little bit, pretty much anything that you need, they got. So make sure you go check them out. Also, Bonafide Kayaks. Y'all know that we run Bonafide Kayaks. I love the Bonafide Kayak. It fits. Me and James come out of the bass boat side of things, and this right here fits what we need when it comes to coming out of a bass boat. So would you agree with me on that, James?
Absolutely. I think it's going to fit us even better this year.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, we come out from a wide deck, and we can put a bunch of rods and tackle in there. I know you can't put as much. You got to be a little more selective, but we still bring the rods that we want, and we can still load it up with stuff. We can stand in it comfortably and fish, and it paddles great, and it's just a phenomenal kayak, and we really love it. So make sure you check them. All our sponsors are in our link in the bottom, so just make sure you go check them out. But also I want to thank Falcon Rods, Missile Baits. Guys, we got a big Missile Baits pro staffer, shall we say. He's more than a pro staffer. He's sponsored by Missile Baits. Gerald Spohrer, he'll be coming on. He fishes the Bass Pro Tour / Major League Fishing, and we've talked to Gerald for a couple years now from ICAST at Classic, and he is just a top-notch dude, super nice guy, and he's really turning the heat on these last 2 years on his fishing side. You know what I mean, James? I mean, you're starting to see him in the standings more and more and more.
Oh, absolutely, especially in the Bass Pro Tour. I mean, he's been in it, both times so far. So
he's getting it done. So, but yeah, make sure you go check out Missile Baits, and we also got Power Pole. And then I put up the new video for I know I said something about them earlier, but the AccuCoil on the new fish tether with the Elite grip on it. Make sure you go check that out. And, well, actually, they don't have it up yet, but make sure you go check the video out. And he hopefully have it up soon for purchase, and hopefully it'll be something we can carry as well. But make sure you go check them out. But other than that, hey, Chris, what time we got right now?
7 out.
So okay. Had the Bassmasters. What am I talking about? The Bass Pro Shop Spring Classic. James, you load up on some tackle this weekend?
I did load up on a few things. Some spinner baits. They had killer deals on spinner baits right now.
Yeah.
So
killer deals. I don't want to show all the colors today. Killer deals.
They didn't have but three. They didn't have but like 3 different colors. So
yeah.
They had a bunch of different blade combinations.
Yeah, and weights and stuff like that. 3-ounce quarter, stuff like that. But I mean, it really was a good sale they had going on. So if you're in the market, I was just looking through the paper. If you was in the market for electronics, it was a heck of a sale to get for electronics. So, but that sale still goes on for a couple weeks, don't it? Or no?
Till March 5th.
Till March 5th, yeah. So you ain't gone by there yet. Make sure you get by Bass Pro Shops and get in on their specials and deals that they got. And the spinnerbait rack was loaded up with people there for a little while, and then me and James went in there and grabbed a couple. So, but
it was on the limit 15 per customer.
Yeah. So you know how many we got, but
yeah.
But no, they had some really good deals on stuff. So make sure you go check out Bass Pro Shop Spring Classic. Well, you can take a rod and reel in there too, right? And get some money back.
Yeah, rod and reel trade-ins. They got all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty good deal. I've done the reel trade-ins before. So
yeah,
you really can't beat it. If you're in the market for something like that, this is the time of year to go shop at Bass Pro.
Yeah. I caught some crap from our local tackle dealer. I got to talking to him, and he gave me crap for going there, supporting Bass Pro Shops. But we give some love back and forth. I think he's okay now. But I was giving Matt crap about going to Bass Pro Shops from Pro's Choice. But no, they're good people over there. So if you live in the Lynchburg, Forest, Bedford area, make sure you go check it. We ain't even sponsored by them, but we like going there and talking to them guys at Pro's Choice. So Matt and all them guys over are really good guys. So, Chris, we should be getting close to time to calling Gerald in, right?
What time? It's 9:09.
9:09. Yeah, let's start getting him on the phone there. And if y'all haven't checked out Gerald Spohrer Fishing, make sure you go in there and check him out. He's been doing some videos here lately, some rundowns on how his terms have been, and I'm just really impressed at how well he's doing. Like, I knew he's a good fisherman. All of them are good fishermen to even get there to that level. But the level that it's like he's just turned it up, man. He's starting to dial them in. He's starting to figure out his, what to do. But James, I noticed in Major League Fishing, there's a lot of heavy hitters that ain't doing so well. I mean,
no, it's a whole different, strategy, really.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just kind of, you got guys like Kevin Van Dam. Now, granted, he's been up there a couple times, but it's a lot of them guys that you don't see really turning it on. Now, Edwin Evers, he had a really great tournament this weekend and caught a freaking monster.
Yeah, right. Like 10 minutes before.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, he was crushing it.
But we got Gerald on now. Let's go ahead and get Gerald on over. Gerald, how are you doing today, buddy?
Hey, fellas, I'm doing good.
So you just got back home this today?
Not too long ago. As soon as I got home, I went and had a little celebration dinner with the guys from SWAT and his wife, and made it home just in time to do this podcast with you guys.
Man, we want to congratulate you. Me and James both been pulling for you as we've been watching Major League Fishing. It's hard to get anything done at work because of this. I ain't gonna lie. And when you start, I always keep an eye on you, man. And it's just amazing how you've really turned it on in Major League. I mean, you've done good in elites, but just it's something different in this format and how well you've been doing. You know.
Thank you. Yes, we feel very comfortable already.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about SWAT and what that is.
SWAT is specialty welding and turnaround. They're a specialty welding company, and they pretty much, to sum it up, they build chemical plants and refineries all across the country, and they're expanding. They're a young company. They're only about 4 years old, and a guy named Johnny Holyfield, this guy's become really close to me, and he gathered up a group of friends and coworkers in the industry, and they started this company, and in 4 years they're already a $200 million plus company, and from coast to coast now. Yeah. And these guys, they're behind me 100%, and I mean, they're so behind me that the owner of this company is coming to the Bassmasters Classic, and he's going to follow me around with his own bass boat. So you can't ask for a better title sponsor.
Oh, heck no, man.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, I seen the logo on there, and I was always wondering, you know, what it was, and it's a cool looking logo. And but that, yeah, just wanted to find out what that was all about. And it's cool to see a non-endemic sponsor come in, though. You know.
Oh yes, and I love when companies like this do get involved, and they do get things out of it, and they've been getting a lot of brand awareness out of it, and they love the feedback they're getting from their customers, and they went and got a bunch of duplicate tournament jerseys made from my last year's season and giving them to customers who are also fans. So it all just comes full circle, and it's really cool to have them part of it. Yeah. But to tell you about the reason they went with SWAT, because if you knew the dude that started this company, he's always about being the best and being the baddest dudes around. And he said that's why I thought of SWAT, because it's like that's the toughest dudes that you bring in SWAT when you want it done right. And it just goes with specialty welding and turnaround, and they want to be known as the best in the country at what they do, best in the world. And so it's fitting for their mindset on how they attack the industry.
Yeah, and they're out of Louisiana as well, right there where you where you live at.
Yeah, the corporate office is only a mile from my house, so it works out just right.
I'm gonna tell you what.
That's perfect.
I do a lot of work working on heavy equipment and stuff like that for United Rentals, and you see a lot of welders from Louisiana. I mean, half the trade down there seems like a bunch of welders down there from Louisiana.
Yeah, they're big. I mean, sometimes SWAT has as many as 1,500 welders working for them.
Wow.
Mm.
Yeah,
that's a big company.
Yes.
Yeah, it's I know we work on a lot of the gas lines and stuff when they're running them up here through Virginia, and it's a lot of boys from Louisiana. You can definitely tell they're from Louisiana too. They all got this strong accent.
They're probably boiling crawfish on the back of the truck.
Oh, probably so. But Gerald, let's kind of talk a little bit about your season, man. You're having a really good season, 2 events in, and you've made the cuts for at least the final days. I mean, not the final days, but the before the, what do you call that? The stage.
That would be the knockout round.
Yeah, the knockout round. Yeah, and you've been putting it together, man. You always seem like in the shotgun rounds, you've been up there. You've been up in the top 10s, and I mean, what's different now? Let's start at the beginning. How do you practice now compared to what you did for the elites? Do you do anything different?
Not really. a shorter practice than we did on the elites. We have one full day, and then we get to practice till 4 o'clock on the second day, and then that's it. And the lake goes off limits. We're not allowed to get any information. We're not allowed to even discuss anything amongst ourselves as anglers or competitors. And I room with 3 other guys. It's me, Josh Bertrand, James Elam, and Roy Hawk, all in one house, and we can't even talk about fishing. It's tough. And I can't say, hey, they're biting a spinnerbait, or if I'm struggling, I can't say, hey, man, throw me a bone. None of that's going on. It's all against all. And that's the way I like it. I've always said it needs to be that way. These shouldn't be team tournaments. It shouldn't be me bailing out my buddy, because I feel like every time you help a guy out, you cost a guy from getting a check that did it on his own. And so I think it should be this way on this level. And that way, when someone does good, you can individually own it, and no one can take that away from you. And so in that sense, all I do is run around the lake, and I just try to acknowledge things, and I don't really try to build a game plan. I think it's a bad idea to do that anyway. I've always preached that. It's really hard to do, but I run around the lake, and I try to sample as much of it as I can, and I don't try to get dialed in. I don't want to know every tree I can catch a fish on, or every bait I can catch a fish on. It's more or less, how's this area set up? What's the watercolor? What's the conditions coming to me, like wind-wise and things like that? And then I make my decision on where I'm going to start my tournament. And then that's really where my practice starts, is when the tournament starts. I don't really know what I'm on or what kind of size I'm going to catch. I may get a few bites in practice. A lot of times I don't even set the hook. Or most of the time, I was practicing with spinnerbait a lot this week, and I cut the hook on my spinnerbait. I just need to see him hit it, and that was it. And I didn't need to catch them or check the size or anything. I didn't even do that in the Elite Series because I don't want to burn fish. Yeah. And so that's it. I feel comfortable enough and confident enough that I just need to know a little bit. And then let's go, and I'll figure it out during the tournament.
Now, what's the pressure like when you blast off, and how often do they do the scoreboard update? I mean, is it every time someone puts a fish on, or is it every couple minutes? Or, I mean, how do they do that? Is it like a special time, or you can just ask for it, right?
Yeah, we can ask for it, and the boat officials will tell us, he said, I can give you a standard 15-minute update, or I cannot say anything. You can just ask me for it. And so right off the bat, I like to know, like, for that first hour or so, I was like, let's keep me updated as things are happening, because I need to know if they're biting. And then once that morning flurry is over with, then I kind of tell them to slow down a little bit on it, and I try to focus on doing my own thing. But I want to know what the pace is going to be. Or do I have to run around a lot, kind of slow down and just fish for big ones, or do I need to pick up a square bill and go run down riprap? Or it sets the pace, and I can make my decisions off. I like to say I like to make my play calls based off the actual game, and not what I'm assuming what other anglers are doing. And that's what we've always done. We've always imagined how the game was going, and we made our decisions based off that. But no professional sport should be that way. I want to know what the game's doing so I can call the proper plays, set up the right defense, do whatever I got to do to go against my competition.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to ask you was, you see, when you watch Major League Fishing, and let's say, I don't know, I'm just going to name a name, Denny Brower's really hammering them, and a lot of guys are like, man, he's probably throwing a jig or a crankbait or something. I mean, when you see, like, let's say Edwin Evers was doing good, or whoever was in your bracket, when they started hammering, do you think, man, they're probably doing this, or they're probably, because you just know how that fisherman fishes,
Yeah. I study my fellow anglers a lot, more than they probably know, and I want to know everything about them. I might even spend the next couple of days just watching all the live footage from this last event, just because I want to know how my anglers attack water. And the reason that is because I don't know very much going into these tournaments, and it's all unfolding. But there's certain guys that are specialists in certain things, and whenever it starts happening, I know Brett Hyte's typically throwing a chatterbait, and I know Randall Tharp's typically flipping a jig, and Josh Bertrand's usually out deep, and Roy Hawk's a spinnerbait guru, and you run into a guy like Edwin Evers, I don't know what he's doing, or James Elam, I don't know what that guy does. They'll catch him doing all kinds of stuff. So
yeah.
I try to know what I can about my fellow competitors, and that kind of helps me. It's just like prepping for any game. You want to watch the playbook. I mean, watch some tape. I want to sit down and watch tape. That way, I can prepare myself to compete against these guys.
Yeah, and that's what I've always wondered. And in a way, like you say, it's great to know your anglers, but in a way, I always think it messed with my mind because then then I'd be worried I'd go out and do something that wasn't in my wheelhouse, shall I say? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but it is strategic. I feel like I'll pick and choose the information. I won't just run around and do crazy things, but you gotta. That wouldn't work for everyone. It works for me, but I don't try to base things I do off of other competitors. But I also know that if I have certain things going on, like if I know in this situation I was on flipping and spinnerbait bite up the river, and there were some times when the score tracker wasn't moving, and I shifted gears and ran to the other side of the lake and started doing other things, with just knowing that certain competitors were up there. As soon as I started hearing the score tracker move, I knew they were up there doing certain things, then I would go back to those areas. So you just have to be paying attention on who's where and the way people fish, and it can help you.
Yeah. And kind of getting into your day on, let's say your first day of the tournament and your first shotgun round, and you start hammering them. Do you try to say, all right, I need to pull off of these fish to conserve them, or do you just keep hammering them because you don't know what the guys are going to come in the next day and start catching?
Day one, you catch everything you can, and then you see where you fall, and then you see where the cut line is, and then you got to make a guess, say, all right, what do I need on day two, which would be the elimination round, and you got to come up with an estimate and say, all right, maybe I'm good already. If I'm good already and I'm more than 3 times the cut weight, then on the elimination round, all I'm going to do is practice. I won't set the hook on another fish. There's no sense in burning any fish at all because it's not going to help you because the weights get zeroed going into the knockout round.
Mm-hmm.
Now, y'all not allowed to watch any of the live footage? Like, let's say when your day off the lake, can you watch any of it? What the guys are
Absolutely
doing?
not. We cannot do anything to gain a competitive advantage. So we cannot watch live video. Even we can look at photos on social media, but in your mind, you have to stop that at a certain point. So if I see Edwin Evers was catching them on a chatterbait, and he has a picture on Major League Fishing Instagram page with a chatterbait hanging out of a fish's mouth, if I sit there and try to zoom in on it and see what color it is and try to scrutinize the background of the photo, then at that point I'm breaking the rule.
Yeah. So the best thing to do is just stay off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just curious how they monitored that. You know what I mean? Like, I guess that's just a trust factor, and then they probably give you a lie detector test, a random lie detector test. But
we have a hardcore lie detector test, and I'm scared to death to take it just because I've heard it's 2 hours long. It's by one of the best lie detector test people in the entire country. This dude's been doing all this stuff in courtrooms and everything else, and they said it is brutal.
Oh gosh!
And they'll give it to 6 random anglers per tournament. So every single one of us is guaranteed a lie detector test this season, and they're going to ask very straight up questions. Did you do anything like watch videos or zoom in on photos to gain a competitive advantage? And so if you do something like that, you will get busted in this deal.
Oh, man. Chris, you say we got a question?
Yeah, First Alarm Fishing wants to know how much did that crawfish pot sitting in the driveway today get used this week?
He said, how much did a crawfish pot sitting in the driveway get used this week?
Yeah.
Who was that?
First Alarm Fishing.
First Alarm Fishing?
Yeah.
Yeah, James Elam, Roy Hawk, and Josh Bertrand, they all love crawfish. Elam's from Oklahoma, Bertrand's from Phoenix, Arizona, and Hawk's from Lake Havasu. So so they don't get to just get crawfish. And Bertrand left his truck and boat at my house after the Toho event. He flew home. When he flew back, I told him, hey, maybe it's a good opportunity for me to bring a sack of crawfish to the Conroe event, but we got to boil them the first day because you just can't keep a sack of crawfish sitting around. So we picked them up from the seafood store, threw them in my truck, threw the pot and burner and propane back there. And as soon as we got to Conroe that night, we unloaded the truck and started boiling crawfish at the rent house. And we ate 37 pounds between 5 of us.
Wow.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. I'm ready.
I know we went down to the Classic in Houston. We drove down and come through Louisiana and got over in was it Baton Rouge, I think is where we went over. And James was like, man, I got to get some crawfish. We're coming through Louisiana. I got to get some crawfish. So we stopped over at a little restaurant there, and they loaded him up, man. And I can't eat shellfish because I'm allergic. I'm allergic to shellfish, but I can have a little bit. So I had James breaking it off and putting it on the fork and then giving it to me so I could eat it.
Oh, my God.
That's true love right there, boy.
I don't know what you call it, but I was hoping it would never get this far out so everybody would know.
You said we got a question, Chris?
Yeah, Bass Capital Day wants to know, how do you feel about every fish counts versus the biggest 5?
They said they want to know how you feel about every fish counts versus your biggest 5.
So that is, to me, the way tournament fishing needs to be. And I know it's not feasible for everyone. But the reason I think it's important on our level is because you can no longer count on one bite to get you lucky and carry you through an event. And in the past, the way I've seen it is a guy will go out and have 22 pounds on day one, but he has an 8-pound kicker. And he got lucky. He caught it 5 minutes left to go or something like that. And the next day he weighs in 10 pounds and then carried him all the way to the cut. And that just that one bite. And I don't think it should be that way. I think it should be an overall assessment of fishing and how you compete, move around the lake and attack water. And every fish counts, to me, eliminates that luck factor because a guy can catch that big fish, but if that's the only bass he caught, or if he just caught a couple other ones to go with it, it doesn't matter because these guys are just constantly catching them throughout the day and putting scores on the board.
Yeah. Yeah, and to the Bass Pro Tour, a lot of people were like, man, this is going to be a dink fest, because Major League Fishing's a dink fest. But Florida and Conroe, now I know Conroe fished a little tough, but there was still some big fish being brought in on Conroe, and it was getting better on this last day, with the fish starting to pull up and getting ready for the spawn and all that. And what do you think? I mean, I don't see it being a dink. I mean, there's some small bass. There's 1 and 2 pound bass caught, but I think we're still seeing a lot of big fish caught.
Well, so a couple of things there. First of all, this schedule got thrown together last minute. And we have been early on both these first events. We was a week early on Toho. It was cold. And we were on the front side of the full moon, and the fish weren't pulling up. There was not one fish on the bed. You did not see one bed fish caught. And next week, FLW went over there and crushed them. They were on beds everywhere. We were just a week early. We knew we was not capitalizing on the best times to be there, but this was only this year it's going to be that way because it was just last minute. Yeah. And in the future, we're planning to go to places at the absolute best time, whether a town wants to pay us or not to come there. We're going to go there at the best times, and we're going to catch nothing but big fish. Now, there'll be situations where a smaller fish may be caught, and yeah, you're going to put it on the scales, but that's not what we're out there targeting. That's not how this thing's set up. In the past, it seems to have been highlighted that way because these guys were showing up with no practice, and all they have a choice to do is run up and hit the bank and fish visual targets. You give these guys at least one day to run around the lake and really apply that technical side of what we do, and they will find the biggest fish in the lake. Yeah. Of course, while they're catching these big ones, they're going to catch some other ones that are going to add to the score. But it's no different from scoring a touchdown that's worth 7 points or kicking a field goal that's worth 3. Every point counts in the game. And that's how everything is. Whether you pull out your putter or you pull out your driver every time, it's definitely not going to be a dink fest. I promise you that.
Yeah, and that's what I look at too. I think you're seeing raw, hardcore live footage, and Bass does it too. But I think there's a lot that you don't see. You know what I mean? When you turn on Bassmasters and you see them catching big fish on TV. Well, they edit out a lot of those little fish. Because if you talk to these guys at the classics and stuff like that, a lot of guys are like, man, I caught 20 fish, but I just couldn't get no kickers. And you don't see a lot of that. But when they do catch that kicker, you see it.
People over-exaggerate the reality of tournament fishing. So they think every time that we go out there, we're looking to catch 10-pounders. That's not the case. I'm always trying to assess what it's going to take to get paid, what is it going to take to get in the cut, and I'm always worried about qualifying for the classic when I'm fishing the elites, and it's just all about points and getting paid, and that's how you make a living in bass fishing. So whenever you're going around the lake, of course, you're looking where you can get a big bite, but most importantly, you're looking where you can catch a limit.
That's right.
And whether that limit, say, maybe I need 2-pounders to fill my limit out because it's only going to take 12 pounds a day, and so 2-pounders, and I catch me another one that's decent, and then I'm right there. So you're always looking for places to get bites, and it's not always easy to get bites. Depends on the conditions when you show up to a lake or whatnot. It's the same situation here. All I'm doing is looking for bites, and this week, you'll see guys catching 1-2-pounders steady, and then all of a sudden they'll catch 8, like Edwin Evers. That's reality in fishing, so anyone can sit there and try to say, oh, yeah, it's a dink fest. Or, yeah, I've never been to a tournament where every stringer coming to the scales was 30 pounds.
That's right.
It's not, that's not how it happens.
Yeah.
So this is real fishing, and all we're doing is highlighting the entire thing. We're not just picking and editing each big fish catch. This is a whole full day of fishing and competing, and then you get to watch these guys get all spun out over the score tracker. So you can't beat this if you ask me. This is how it should be.
And that's what I was like. I love it. I love the fact that, I don't want to see nobody struggle. I like to see all tournament fishermen catch them because, like I say, it's your living. But it makes it feel more like, man, I know how that guy feels because every time I go on a lake, I don't catch him either. You know what I mean? And I'm going to say it's nice to see a struggle, but it feels nice to say, hey, these guys are just like us sometimes. You know what I mean? They struggle as well to catch fish, just like.
Oh, absolutely! It's whenever I hit that water, it's not like I automatically know where to go. I gotta slow down and let my instinct take over. And sometimes, you're trying to catch an animal in its own environment. It's not like I can control every aspect of this game. I just go out there. I cannot see what I'm trying to target. It's underneath the water, and you just basing everything off of a general rule of thumb, and you're going off a feel, and sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. And fish losses are huge in this deal. When before, in a 5-fish limit, if I lose a 3-pounder, like, all right, I'll make it up. I only got to catch 5. So if I catch 5 more 3-pounders, that 3-pounder didn't matter. Well, in this deal, you don't get that weight back. So every single opportunity you have to catch a fish, whether one boiled on it and you didn't hook it at all, or one jumps off, or you break your line on one, every one of those opportunities hurts the same, and it's you can't get those weights back.
That's right. Chris, you say we got a question?
Yeah, Chase wants to know what does he think about the breaks they get between the periods?
I want to know what you think about the breaks between periods. What do you think about? Do you like them? Do you know or?
Yes. So even the days off and the breaks and everything. So it's really nice to have time out, drink some water, eat a sandwich. They move cameras around a lot, and that's for the benefits of the people that are watching. So if I'm on fish, you notice how many times they move the cameras in these tournaments. So you're not just stuck on one guy that's doing good. You're also getting coverage of the guy that may be struggling or fighting for the cut line and everything else. So they capture the whole event. And during that 15-minute period, it allows them to move the cameras around, adjust the score trackers, fix things they may need to fix them, gives us a minute to sit down, drink some water, get a breather. And the cool part about it is this is the first time in tournament fishing where when the day starts and when the day ends, I'm fishing full power, 100%. And usually during 3 days of practice in the past, and then we roll into the tournament, by the time the tournament starts, we're all so wore out. We're not fishing at our full potential. You don't see that intensity because half these guys are half dead. But in Major League Fishing, these guys are so intense because they had a day off before, and they're getting these breaks, and they're hydrating, and they're eating right, and they're playing like athletes should play.
Yeah, exactly. Chris, we got anything else?
No. Chase, I think, was looking for some clarification. He thought that you could watch the other competitors' personal live feeds.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, yeah, we just covered that. And yeah, they can't watch a live feed. They can't get no competitive advantage. So, but yeah, that question did come up earlier. James, you got any more for Gerald talking about the Major League Fishing side of things before you go to your in-depth segment?
No, I just like the way the whole format is. I'm really excited about it. I can't get my, once it's on, I can't stop watching it. So,
I'd like to give y'all some insights on the numbers associated with our live, if y'all are interested.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just this is just some numbers they gave us from the last live broadcast. We had a total live views at 1.1 million, and then minutes viewed was 18,842,000, and total website visits was 1.2 million.
Wow.
That is like way more, like almost triple than any live broadcast ever done with bass fishing.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's just what's to come, and the most exciting part about it is how much money they're investing in this to bring the absolute best show in fishing, and these cameras are like $50,000 a piece, and they got 11 of them. They got over $500,000 in cameras running around these things with 10 brand new nitros with 250s on the back, and they're running all over the lake, and I mean you can't ask for better content than this.
Yeah.
And there's some things we're going to change as this progresses. I'm sure the way it is now is nothing like it's going to be a year from now because we're taking the feedback. We're making changes as people give feedback. And so it's going to end up being everything that everybody wants it to be, I promise you.
Chris, sorry, James, interrupt you. I know we was getting
No, you're fine.
We had another question come up, Chris.
Actually, we got two questions. The first one is, First Alarm Fishing wants to know if they ran into many obstacles in the way of locals getting in the bay while in the tournament.
Do you have much problems with the locals during the tournaments?
Yeah, I mean that's always the case. We fish public water, so we have to compete around the public. It just is what it is. I mean that's part of doing what we do. I noticed a lot. This is so new, this format, that a lot of people we didn't even have time to promote the fact we were coming. So a lot of people in the town didn't even know we were going to be there. So they had some conflicting tournaments and some situations already, and some but I haven't heard of any bad situations. Once guys realized what we were doing, they got out of our way, and it's not a big deal. We know how to manage that.
Yeah. Do you get much with the like in bass, you always had guys following you around just to watch you fish. Do you get much of it on this side?
Not really. Not yet. The bigger this gets and everything, that, like I said, when we rolled into these towns with no notice at all, so most of these people really didn't even know we were coming.
Yeah.
Most of it's streamed online, and we don't really. We like to. Major League Fishing likes to promote themselves as being a media company, and it's not as focused as drawing the crowd in. We invite them. You come watch the show. We call it the post-game show, the midway. They can come over there. They can watch us drive through our trucks and boats. They get to hang out with the anglers and get autographs. And this weekend I was giving out T-shirts. Suzuki helped me make a bunch of T-shirts that say Suzuki Marine on them, and it says @Gerald Spohrer Fishing, my social media handle. And I was autographing all these shirts and giving them out to the crowd and everything. So I'll be bringing more things to events. I just got a bunch of bracelets made that say SWAT on them and Major League Fishing. I'm going to hand those out to people. So there's a lot of things to do for the crowd, but the main objective is we're making a really awesome TV show. And so when you go over there and you see, we got a staff of like 90 people that's working behind the scenes at River Fishing. There's cameras everywhere, and they're just capturing all this crazy content in these different ways. So when they condense all this down to a two-hour television show, it's going to be the coolest fishing tournament television show you've ever seen.
Wow. Yeah, it is crazy. Chris, we got anything else? And we're going to turn over to James.
Nick wants to know how did it go down, how he thought it would for a pre-spawn derby in Texas.
They said, did you think it? What was it again?
He wants to know, did it go down how he thought it would for a pre-spawn derby in Texas?
He wants to know, did you think it was going to go down the way it did for a pre-spawn tournament in Texas? Do you think it was going to go a different way than it did, or did it kind of go around about what you were thinking?
No, I didn't. Actually, they caught them better than I thought they would. The lake the Conroe itself right now was not in an ideal shape. It was really, really muddy. The lake was really, really clean about a month ago, and it was like had beautiful watercolor. And then they got a bunch of rain, and the lake got really dirty. And you know, it's been a pretty cold winter. I wouldn't say it's like freezing cold, but it was the temperatures. We never had those winter warming trends like we've been having the last few years, and so the water temperature was cold leading up to this February full moon, and we were just a little early, but they were just starting to come in and setting up on stuff. It's like they want to get in those spawning areas to start doing their things, but that temperature and those conditions were kind of holding them back. And, you know, I ran around the lake sampling it with baits without hooks on them, and I didn't get very many bites. I did not know. I actually hunkered down in an area where I got 3 bites, and I thought that was going to be where I was going to live and die, and it ended up catching a dozen or so fish a day, which was a lot more than what I expected.
Yeah. We said we got 2 more here, James, and then we're going to turn it over. I just want to make sure we get these questions out the way.
Yeah, that's fine.
Joey wants to know, do they think this format favors guys whose strength is shallow water fishing?
I think that's kind of a loaded question, but they said, do you think this format favors to the guys that are more shallow water fishermen? But before Gerald answers that, I think that's kind of a loaded question just for the fact that it just depends on the body of water you go on. You know,
yeah, we have practice now. So whenever we go to a fishery, these guys have the deep water fishermen. They have time to idle around and find their fish. And you know, I think guys will capitalize in certain situations. But to me, the most consistent guys in this deal will be the ones that can catch them anyway.
Yeah.
You know, like Edwin Evers, he can catch them deep just as good as anybody. He beats your brains in shallow. He can beat your brains in on smallmouth. You know, this group of guys can do it any way they want to do it. Now, there is certain guys who process and attack shallow water quicker than others. And yes, they would have a competitive advantage whenever we go to a cup event, just like the old Major League Fishing style, when we don't have any practice, we don't know where we're going, they just drop us off. We're all going to hit the bank in that situation. You don't have time to go graphing with an unfamiliar boat that's not necessarily set up for that kind of stuff. And you don't even know if the fishery's set up for that kind of stuff. So, yeah, those guys that are really fast at processing that kind of water, they probably have an advantage. I like to think I'm one of those.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We got one more, Chris?
Yeah, Ricky wants to know, how does he feel about the 2-minute penalty, and would he change anything?
He said, how do you feel about the 2-minute penalty? I guess for like the fish landing penalty, maybe?
I believe that's what he said.
And would you change it? Is there anything that you would possibly change?
Oh, I want to be able to bounce a 4-pounder off the carpet.
Yeah.
That's just how. But, you know, this show appeals to people that don't even watch fishing. So we wanted to add some nice little twist to it that would make it more interesting. And seeing Jordan Lee sit in the penalty box for 2 minutes when Edwin Evers was crawling up his back, that stuff makes for good TV and makes for a good event. So even though I want to bounce a 4-pounder off the carpet, we're trying to get away from that mindset, and we're promoting fish care and everything else because we want people to start thinking that way and start living that way. So it's fitting. It's a fitting penalty for the way we're trying to be, and it is kind of funny whenever the boat official says, "Oh, your buddy's sitting in a 2-minute penalty right now," and you just kind of laugh.
Yeah. Now, I know there's been some talk about it. I've just seen it on social media. I haven't come across none of it when I watched it, but some of the pros making comments or cussing on screen. Now, did they have a penalty for them off the water? I guess a fine for that.
Yeah, we had a lot of discussion about that at our last angler meeting right before this event started, and we all have different opinions on that. To me, I feel like they should be able to express themselves however they want, and it needs to be on Major League Fishing to have enough delay in there to be able to beep it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to censor what a guy's emotions are whenever he gets knocked out of that cut. I want him to go crazy. And I don't want him to have to edit himself. I just think it makes it unnatural. And I want everybody to be who they are. Now, if they want to get on there and make a fool out of themselves, that's on them, because I'm not going to do that. Yeah. But, I don't want us to be so restricted to where it's unnatural. I don't want it to be fabricated.
That's right. Hey, James, let's get over into your segment. Well, let's do, Gerald, we always do an in-depth segment on our show with that way our viewers get something out of it when it comes to techniques and stuff like that. So I know where you're down in Louisiana, flipping is kind of a big thing down there. Y'all got a lot of grass, you got a lot of you got your deltas and stuff like that. So we're going to turn it over to James and let him kind of do the in-depth segment with you, buddy.
All right. First off, what would be your ideal flipping setup?
All right. So that's good. I do have 3 rods right here that I was using in this last event on Lake Conroe, and so we'll go. Flipping was my main deal to start the tournament. Now, as the tournament progressed, I ended up shifting to a spinnerbait deal. And I don't know if y'all saw that run I made on the score tracker the last day where I almost jumped in that 10 cut. And then I did that on spinnerbait. But my ideal flipping setup was what I was using this week. And I'm with Alpha Angler now. Everyone I don't know if everyone knows yet, but I've made some announcements where I partnered up with Brandon Polnick.
Yeah.
He's becoming a good friend of mine, and he's been working on these rides with Alpha Angler, Jake Boomer. He's the owner of Alpha Angler. They've been building these rides, and they're making them perfect. And so he approached me and asked me if I wanted to be part of this team, and they got me a bunch of these rides in my hand before the season started, and this rod right here, I've already the last 2 tournaments, flipping has been a big part of my deal. So I did a lot of flipping with one of them called a hitter. It's a 7.6 heavy fast. I don't know if you guys can see this right here.
Oh yeah,
7.6 heavy fast. I gotta kind of do it opposite of what the camera's telling me. Yeah, and this is 60 pound sunline braid, and this is an 8-to-1 gear ratio reel this is a Daiwa Tatula CT. Daiwa is not a sponsor of mine, but every reel I have is a Daiwa. So 8-to-1 high-speed reel, 60-pound sunline braid on a 7.6 hitter, and this is mostly what I'll flip all my braid on. And then this fluorocarbon setup is this is 20-pound sunline shooter, and in this situation, I was using a 1/4-ounce Beast Coast tungsten weight because I was fishing bushes that had about maybe 10 inches of water in them. I mean, it was shallow and it was super muddy, and so I wanted to have somewhat of a slow fall and a bait that moved a lot of water at the same time. So the 1/4-ounce weight was important, and I pegged it with a bobber stop with a 4/0. With fluorocarbon, I don't like to use a real heavy gauge flipping hook because I feel like it takes a lot to drive the hook. So, for instance, I flip with a hack attack hook a lot, a 4/0 or 5/0 hack attack. Everyone knows that that's like a tuna hook. Well, the only thing I really comfortable yanking on a fish with that hook is with braid, because I feel like you got to jack them a little bit to drive it, but it doesn't bend. So that's why I use that hook. It doesn't flex at all. But for fluorocarbon, I've been using this. This is a Gamakatsu G Finesse hook, Aaron Martin's heavy cover flipping hook, and this hook, y'all probably can't see this on here, but this hook right here, it has a really small barb on it, and it doesn't take much pressure to drive this hook. And some people think, oh man, that little barb scares me, but I punch it through them, and it's really hard to get out sometimes. But it's thin wired, and it's pretty stout for being thin wired. And the fact that it's thin, all I have to do with fluorocarbon is lean on them, just barely, just kind of pull on them like that, and it'll get in there. It'll punch them pretty good. So it's almost like a spinnerbait hook, but it's strong enough to flip with. You know, how a spinnerbait, we don't sit there and crank on them. Just pull on them, and that's the same concept I like to do when I'm flipping with fluorocarbon. And the same thing. This is a Daiwa Tatula SV reel, and I like this one for fluorocarbon versus the CT. The CT has a heavier spool in it. It backlashes a little bit easier, but it still doesn't backlash that bad. But this one's specifically designed to be hard to backlash. It's got a light spool in it, so it starts and stops really fast. So when your bait hits the water when you flip, and that spool doesn't have that momentum to keep rolling on you and unwind your fluorocarbon. So it's a really good flipping reel. And of course, it's high speed, and this is a little lighter application. So I was flipping this one with the Alpha Angler Zilla. It's basically the same blank, but it's a 7.3, a little bit shorter version. And I didn't want to overpower them fish. So that was my flipping setup this week. And on this braid rod, I was flipping with, this is my signature series flipping jig. This is from Beast Coast. This is the G-Spo Battle Flip. It's the only jig on the planet, I promise you. You cannot get this thing hung up. The only way it'll get hung up if it gets wedged, but that weed guard right there won't let that hook point roll in on any kind of reeds or brush or anything. So I really love this one for flipping bushes, reeds. You know, I wouldn't say it's a grass jig, but it's definitely a bush jig. So if you're fishing flooded buckbrush or laydowns and things like that, you can flip this in there with confidence, and it will not get hung. I promise you. If it gets hung, blast me on Facebook. I promise you, it will not get hung up. And that's really important when you're flipping that heavy cover, because there's nothing worse. You say, man, there's a 5-pounder there, I know it, and you flip in there and your jig gets stuck.
Yeah.
So my heavy cover jig from Beast Coast, and then this missile D-bomb. That's, you can't beat that. I flip this everywhere I go, almost exclusively.
Yeah, we love missile. We're a big fan of missile around here.
Yeah. We just
y'all have these?
ordered a ton of stuff.
I think that color.
Figure out how to get us in the camera.
Yeah, don't show that color.
Nobody around here knows about that color.
Yeah,
I'm trying to make that color famous. That's Zematoma.
Yeah.
My buddy owns that tackle store, Joey Zimmer, Z's Tackle in Lutcher, Louisiana, and it's the only place you can get that color D-bomb is if you got to call Z's Tackle, and that's why he calls it the Zematoma. Everyone knows the hematoma color, and that's real popular. But he wanted that color in a D-bomb, so he named it the Zematoma, and that's. I caught him on that in Florida, and I caught him on that in Conroe.
Don't listen to Gerald. Don't listen to Gerald Spohrer. He doesn't know what he's talking about when it comes to that bait. Don't worry, we've talked to that fella a couple times.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's old Cajun from down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got some of those baits.
Yeah. I made a phone call with Shannon. I said, Shannon, I need some of those. He goes, I can't get them to you. I'm like, what do you mean you can't give them to me? They're missile. He said, you got to call him. I'm like, okay. But yeah, I talked to him on the phone a little bit. He's a nice guy, man. He's got some really good colors too.
Yeah.
So
what are some of the main things you're looking for when you're flipping? You know, like just say you were flipping grass, what's something? What are you looking for in that grass that you're flipping for?
Well, that's a pretty broad question because grass sets up so many different ways. If I'm flipping deep hydrilla versus, I say deep hydrilla growing in 10 to 20 feet. If you go to places like Toledo, Bend, or Rayburn, and you get that deep, long strands of milfoil growing up and hydrilla mix, and you're going around just blind flipping, versus when you're flipping in shallow grass and you're trying to punch. But the main thing is edges. Edges are very important. I don't like, so if you have a big grass mat that extends off of the bank, I ain't saying you can't go back there and get bit, but the percentage, it just drastically drops down. So if you stay around those edges, those are what we call high percentage areas of the grass mats. And then you look for irregularities along the edges where it has indentions or makes points, or maybe where it gets a little bit thinner versus thicker. And maybe if you have a log mixed in the grass or something, and you just want to stay close to those edges, and maybe where a grass line ends and intersects with some rock or something, or a lot of times, like if you're in Florida, where you find grass mixed with a shell bottom. Bottom. Just because you see grass doesn't necessarily mean it has all the same bottom. So it just depends on where you are in the country. But irregularities and edges are the main thing.
So pretty much the same thing that you would look for if you're fishing banks and stuff like that. You're just looking for it farther out.
Yeah. Yep. It just depends how the grass is set up too.
On trees and stuff like that, do you start just right in the meat, or do you work your way around and then work your way into the meat of a tree when you're flipping trees and stuff like that?
A lay down?
Yes, a lay down.
Okay, yeah. So a lay down, I usually like to flip the outside edge first because a lay down can hold multiple fish. And if you go straight to the heart of it, you can get a bite right away. But when you yank a fish out of the meat of a lay down, you can kind of ruin the lay down. But if you flip on the outside and you catch a 4-pounder, you put him in the boat, and then the next flip, you flip on the outside again, one doesn't bite it, then you start going into it. And the further you get into a tree, you can get bit, but you also, every fish you catch further to the heart of a tree, you can mess the tree up. And then I'll hit the base of it last.
Absolutely. Josh, did you have any other questions that you wanted to ask about flipping?
No, I think that was good. One thing about when it comes to weight, you were talking about the weights you were using earlier. Do you kind of try to go as light as you can at first, or do you try to go? I know Ishmael always had a thing where he always talked about dropping bombs on them. I mean, I know when heavy cover, like let's say you get down to Florida and you're punching, that's a whole different ball game. But when it comes to flipping like lay downs, do you try to go with the lightest amount of weight as you can, or do you try to go a little bit heavier?
Well, it depends on the watercolor. So in muddy water, I don't like a fast fall. I want that bait to move water slowly and give that fish a chance to get it, because his reaction time is going to be different. He's not really seeing the bait and going to it. You're making a fish in muddy water react to it. So that movement of the bait, the presence of the bait being there is typically what makes him bite it. And color, it's just more or less of a profile. It's not so critical. Like just if it's dark versus transparent, I like to go with darker colors. So darker, slower falling, water moving profile baits. And then if it's cooler, I like to make sure it's falling slower too. So if you got that water temperature in the mid 50s, it's a big deal for that bait to move at a certain speed to get those bites. But you still need the bait heavy enough to penetrate the cover. So you got to just find that median in there. And if the wind's blowing or something, it's hard to flip bushes with a 1/4 ounce weight if the wind's blowing. But this situation, I had to make it work because it was so shallow that light weight was important. But then if you go up to Lake Champlain and you're flipping docks, or Lake Oneida or something like that, and you're flipping shallow clear water, a faster fall can trigger bites versus a slower moving bait. Because a lot of times when a fish gets too good of a look at the bait, he won't bite it. So just shooting it across him real quick will get you a bite in those situations. So it's really, you got to assess the situations case by case. It's not one general rule of thumb with that. It's more or less seeing are they swimming to it and eating it, or are they reacting to it and eating it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good because I know Smith Mountain Lake here. I don't know if you've ever been on that lake. We're here in around Lynchburg area and Bedford area, but you go to the northern part or you go up the river, you get kind of in your normal stained kind of water, but you get down to the lower end where smallmouth are. It gets really clear, and I always thought that was something. I never tried it, but I always thought about it, of using a heavier weight, trying to get that reaction bite as it's falling. But
yeah.
Kind of getting, before we let you go, I just want to go to 2 more questions here, and that is, they're gearing to come to North Carolina for the next Bass Pro Tour event. What are your thoughts on fishing that area? Have you had much experience in the North Carolina area on those lakes?
Absolutely not. I don't know anything about it. I just know it's going to be that time of the year where those fish are going to be getting ready to spawn, if not spawning already. And of course, we're going to look for those spawning areas, which are obvious, the back of creeks or in pockets or up a river or whatever. And then we're going to start finding that bottom and that cover that they like to get on and see if we can figure out how to catch them. And I just know that it's known for giant stringers, so I'm expecting some big bass to be caught. So far, we've seen a lot of 8 and 9 pounders caught on the Bass Pro Tour between the last 2 events, and I think as we get into this March time frame, you're going to see more of that because then we're going there and then we're going to Chickamauga.
Yeah,
you got plenty of more 8, 9, 10 pounders to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be. I'm excited about the Chickamauga event. I love watching events there. There's just so many big fish in that lake. It's crazy.
This thing right here, this time of the year, I'm going to show y'all this. I shouldn't, but
You should. You didn't give away that. You didn't give away our other secret. Heck, let's just give away more.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know what that is?
That's a good looking
It looks like old man's.
That's a coon-ass special.
Coonan special.
Coon-ass. That's what they call us Cajuns.
Oh.
But this is a spinnerbait that my buddies down here make. It's called Delta Lures. It's got this old school living rubber skirt on it. I throw this thing in dirty, muddy water all the time. This is a double Colorado 3/8. It's got a really awesome hook in it. This bait stays in my hand a lot whenever this time of the year, spawning, going to these lakes where it's getting really, really shallow around cover. This is what I made my run on the score tracker with yesterday on the Bass Pro Tour. They got off that flipping bite, and those fish kind of pulled out a little bit, and they got on that shallow wood, and I just started running targets with this thing. And I don't know if you watched it today, but the spinnerbait was the deal for a lot of guys. And I had figured that out a little late yesterday in the third period, and I almost squeaked in that 10 cut, and I felt like if I'd had a shot at it today, I would have had a real good shot at staying on top of that score tracker because I figured this deal out, a little too late. But that's something else I just kind of wanted to share with everybody. Yeah. This Delta Lures spinnerbait right there, old school, catching the better spinnerbait out there.
I'll be hitting you up after show. Don't worry.
I think you gotta get these from Z's Tackle too.
Well, there goes another bill to him.
They don't sell them all across the country. I know BMT Outdoors, the guys at Bass Mafia, they stock them. I got them to put them up there in Arkansas. They've been throwing them on Lake Dardanelle. But it's really, you see that spinnerbait thrown a lot in just a few places in the country. Down here in Louisiana, they throw it a lot in those dirty places in Oklahoma. Like Jason Christie, that's the one he throws.
Yeah.
But he might throw a booyah or something. But he dresses it up just like that. Elam, he throws that all over Oklahoma. And then now those guys are starting to throw it out there on Dardanelle. So it's catching on. it's always been happening down here, but it's been a little secret forever. But
yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah,
just want to share some juice. That's the juice.
That's the juice right there, boy. I'm about to spend some more money.
Yeah.
Don't throw that on Smith Mountain Lake. That's too clear.
Yeah, no. I'll be going.
No,
we'll be making down your way here soon in March. So.
Yeah, you throw that in the swamp mud.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got some of that down here where I'm at.
Who said that?
Jeff T.
Jeff T said thank you. He's got a tournament at Conroe next. What'd you say, next month?
Yeah.
Next month. So.
Hey, I'll tell you, Conroe, my buddy Albert Collins. Y'all know Albert Collins.
I've heard that name. Yeah.
He had like 30-something pounds on Lake Conroe 2 years ago, and he caught him on that spinnerbait. So
wow.
That spinnerbait's pretty special in Conroe.
Well,
what's that, Chris?
I said, there you go, Jeff.
Yep, there you go, Jeff. Got you some insight, man. Got one more question for you, and then we're gonna let you go, Gerald. I know you're tired. You're ready to lay down, but talking about the Bassmasters Classic coming up, are you? I mean, that's gonna be a big event for a lot, you know. It's the last Bassmasters event for them. What do you think about that coming up?
Man, I hope it's not the last one. I finally made my first one, and I hope I have an opportunity to make another one day. Maybe it's through an open or something like that. But I'm really glad that I get to fish it against the guys that are going to be there, because it really doesn't matter to me. It never really, the most important thing about where I was fishing was who I was fishing against. And I want to compete against the best in the world. I feel like I'm doing that now. And going to this classic and going against the best in the world is what's important to me. And I'm glad that I have the opportunity to do it. Now, I have not been able to focus too much on it. I didn't get to do all the pre-practicing and stuff for the classic. So I don't really know anything. There's a lot of water to cover, but we do get 4 days, which is a lot more practice than what I get now. So when we get up there, it's now that this is over and the next one in front of me is the Classic. That's all I'm going to focus on for the next 3 weeks is studying for that and coming up with a game plan and get my head right for that thing.
Yeah, and that's looking like the way. That's looking like it could be a good event. I don't know. We're really excited about that event because, like I say, it's a lot of big names that ain't going to be in it no more, or at least for a while, So it's just, like I say, it's a lot of big names that are leaving Bass and like Kevin Van Dam and all them guys, man. It's hard to ever think of a Bassmaster Classic anymore without Kevin Van Dam. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
I mean, that's just a big deal. And like I say, you made it finally, and it's your last one for a while, anyways. Hopefully you make it through the opens if you fish more of the opens or anything like that. But do you think that's gonna be a tough event? I mean, they're kind of getting at that prime time where there should be some big fish caught.
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't know a lot. I know that fishery is pretty tough. But that time of the year, it has moments where it shows out. But I think most of the year, it's one of the weaker parts of the Tennessee River as far as fish catching. So I don't know what to expect. I know it's dictated a lot by water level. The Fort Loudon, it gets fed off of Cherokee and Douglas Lake. And during the wintertime, they draw those lakes down like 30 feet. Mm-hmm. And so when they draw it down, they're not feeding Loudon like it should be, so those lakes get drawn down. And if you run around Loudon and Tellico, it's probably got more laydowns than any other lake I've ever seen. Every pocket you go in has 25 big, pretty laydowns, and every one of them looks like it can give you a fish. It looks like a flipping paradise. And if the water's low, I don't know how much that'll play. I don't know what the water level's at right now. I haven't even had a chance to research some of that stuff. But, all that's going to factor into how this thing sets up. whether they'll be offshore or getting in those spawning positions. I'm pretty sure it hasn't warmed up there enough to get that water temperature high enough to make those fish start thinking about. I think they're going to be really, really pre-spawn, unless something changes in the next 3 weeks and we get a warming trend. But I would imagine this water temperature is pretty cold up there still. It's got to be 50 at the most.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what to expect yet. I do know I read a little bit about it, and there was a guy that weighed in like a 9-pound smallmouth and a 10-pound largemouth or something in one tournament. So I know they have big fish in there, but how likely it is to catch them, I don't know how many of them's in there. I mean, you don't hear about big stringers coming from these lakes, so it might be one of those deals where only like 16, 17 pounds a day wins the whole deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, Gerald, man, I really appreciate you coming on, bud. Like I say, we really want to talk to you about it. We've been wanting to get you on for a while, but I know with your scheduling and all that, it's been really tough. But you're having a heck of a year, man. You're starting out having a good year, and I hope your momentum keeps going through the rest of this year for you.
Yeah, we thought about it. It's been like 17 tournaments. Out of 17 tournaments in a row, my worst finish was 71st.
Wow.
And cashed a check in every one of them but 3. So we're on a high
That's
streak
not bad.
right now. And, last year we finished the Elite Series 12th in points. Right now we're 10th in points in the Bass Pro Tour. And it felt really good to have this momentum continue going into the Classic. So hopefully, I feel like we're due to hold that trophy.
Yeah. Now, if you win the Bassmasters Classic, is there going to be a big party afterwards?
You know it, boiling crawfish and popping bottles.
I hear you.
That's how we do it.
That's right. That's right. Well, Gerald, man, I appreciate you coming on, bud. And like I say, congratulations to you so far on how your season's going. And like I say, I hope it keeps going for you, buddy.
All right,
Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah. Thank you, buddy.
Thank
Have
you.
a good one.
All right. Bye.
All right. That was a good interview with Gerald. Gerald is if you ever have a chance to meet him at any of the events at the Bass Pro Tour, if you make it to any of those events or the Classic, Gerald's a stand-up dude. He's always really nice and ready to talk. And did James, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay, it looked like it locked up for a second. I think.
Skype's being silly while I hung up with Gerald.
Oh, it was being crazy. I got you. Old Skype. But yeah, if you ever get the chance, just go and talk to Gerald. He's just I remember at the ICAST, man, he had us rolling with him, man. We was walking around with all the sponsors, doing videos for all the sponsors, and Gerald's taught us a lot just in the industry of how things work. Just kind of hanging out with them, and he's just a stand-up guy. And I like talking to Gerald. He's always a fun to talk to and hang out with. So we actually got a video that was on our Facebook. I think he shared it. It was when around about the time ICAST was. I don't know. I can't remember. It come up. But anyways,
It was at ICAST the year before.
Yeah, and he was sharing it where him and Caleb Summerall were doing a flipping contest. Right there at the Missile Baits booth. So that was pretty fun to watch them doing that. But I think Gerald put it on old Caleb in that video. I can't remember, but
I think so.
Yeah, but that's two good Louisiana boys that love to flip. So I know Shannon Wheeler from Missile Baits, him and Gerald and all them went out and did some fishing before the Bassmasters Classic in Houston and just waxed them. I mean, Shannon was talking about his hands being torn up, how many fish they caught down there in Louisiana. So,
Bass thumb?
Huh?
Bass thumb?
Oh, yeah, old bass thumb. It's tore to pieces, man. So, but, I'd love to get down there and go fishing with him sometime on the Delta and all that. So it just looks like a lot of fun to get down there and do some fishing. But anyways, yeah. So, well, we got the Bassmasters Classic coming up. We ain't got, but James, we talked about it the other day, we're less than a month away now for the 2019 Bassmasters Classic. So,
absolutely. I can't wait. Go down there to that, then we'll come back for a week, and then we'll head to the National Championship.
Yeah. I don't know which one I'm more excited about. At least at the championship we're fishing, but the Classic, you get to talk to so many people, and you kind of get some more ideas of things you want to do. But Louisiana is such a different environment than what what I fish. I mean, there's some things down there that you're used to fishing, James, from where you're at right now. But we're kind of in this. I don't even want to say post spawn yet. Virginia ain't even in that post spawn area yet. Especially with all the rain we've had and the snow and us definitely snow and sleet the last couple of days. We're a little ways from that, but we're going to be leaving here when the fish are about to pull up on beds and going down there, and the fish are probably already pulling off beds. So you know, you just kind of got to get in that mindset of like, hey man, this is a totally different environment than what we're used to fishing. So
we got like 35 days till we head to the national championship.
Yeah. So stay tuned. We got a couple. Me and James filmed a couple more videos, some little quick tip videos on like some bona fide kayak tricks and stuff like that. And you probably could do too on other kayaks, but and we got some more videos coming up. I got the last video we did with the AccuCole fish tether. Make sure you check that out. And please, guys, man, Chris, I forgot to get the picture up there for the contest. Well, we'll show the hat, but I had it. We have that contest too, but I never did a picture for the contest.
Oh, you're talking about the contest.
Yeah. So if you got to show the hat off anyways. And then we got the KBF schedule. I mean, not KBF, Virginia Kayak Bass Challenge schedule, which I'm getting really excited about that event. I mean, the first one.
And we got our kill protectors as well.
Oh yeah. Switch that on over to him. There you go. Yep, we got our kill protectors as well.
Need to get you one of these.
What are you trying to do, Chris? You want to show it again? Hold on, man. He's trying to. Yeah. There we go. Hold on a minute. There you go. Keep modeling. There you go. Right there. Get your kill protector. Protect the front of that kayak. James, did you see the video that? Yeah, I think I tagged you. I can't remember if I tagged you.
Yeah, American Outdoors did.
Yep. They did. He did some Yak Attack upgrades and a few upgrades on his Bonafide, and he also did a shout out with kill protector on his kayak. So we appreciate it, American Outdoors. They're a dealer for us to get those. So we got another little product we might be coming up with soon. James is really busy with some stuff, so I don't want to put that on him yet, but. Stay tuned. If you follow us on the Bonafide members page, you'll see a little bit of it. But that's not finalized. That's going to be out on the market right now. But hopefully soon we'll get something going with that. But it's just a quick little. It's just a neat little accessory to add, just to give you a little more room on your kayak to, add something else. We got something, Chris?
James wants you to make sure they let them know when the fish tethers hit the market.
Oh, let you know. Yeah, we'll definitely let y'all know when the fish tether hits the market. I've been talking with Brent Shores right now. He's down in Texas right now practicing for an event. So hope to get in contact with him soon and find out exactly. He said it was going to be this year, so hopefully it'll be soon. And we
hopefully. Hopefully we'll be the first ones to sell it.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm trying to work with him. I'm trying to go ahead and get those on our webpage and all that. So we'll be working on a new webpage as well here shortly. So hopefully we want to get into more of the article side, and the page that we got right now, it's just so difficult dealing with the people we got doing it. So we're looking to do that so we can get a little more articles out there for people. We've actually had people ask to write articles for us just to help out, and we just really ain't had the format to put it up there right now. So we plan on getting that going and get some more articles up for you guys, and and just keep more news-based stuff up there for bass fishing as well. Just kind of keep it updated a little bit more. But make sure you go on our Facebook page. We got the contest on there. You have to like our Facebook page. You have to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And for extra entry, you hashtag OneObjective. So I think that's how it was on that. I know it definitely is on Instagram. It's hashtag OneObjective. I can't remember on Facebook. It's got the directions written out on there. I can't remember exactly how I did it. Because you got to do it different on Instagram than you do on Facebook because of sharing and all that stuff. So I know you got to share it on our Facebook page. So, but anyways, make sure you go check all that out. Get involved in the contest. We got a great prize pack. I promise I'll have the picture up next Sunday. Was in a rush this today working on a kayak and should have been working on some of the show stuff. I didn't get the picture up. So But other than that, James, you got anything else to add to it, man?
No, thanks everybody for tuning in, and hopefully you thought it was informative.
Yeah, just don't pay no mind to some of the baits that Gerald was talking about. We don't want you guys using them. They're not. It's just not good.
They probably don't work.
Yeah, he's a liar. I'm just kidding, Gerald. I'm just kidding. When I seen them baits come up, I was like, no, Chris, cut the screen off. But no, make sure you go check him out, guys. But anyways, guys, we'll talk to you later. Y'all have a great weekend. If you're in the areas that's going to be getting snow, make sure you're safe. And if you're out fishing, make sure you're safe. Send us those fish pictures on Instagram or Facebook so we can share them with everybody. Other than that, guys, y'all have a great night, and we'll talk to you later. See ya.
Night, everyone.